Well, brothers, I've got a gameplay for you. I'm gonna be breaking down my own gameplay. I played this game earlier today, and looks like I'm playing Gut Fox. I don't think this is actually Gut Fox, probably just one of his viewers, but wanted to go ahead and actually do a little bit more film analysis so I could be able to slow things down. I think film study is one of the best ways to get better, both if you're watching somebody else or if you're watching yourself play, because there's not like one of the things that's nice about Madden compared to even the real NFL, there's not as much randomness that is going to happen. And so it's critical to be able to learn from your mistakes consistently throughout games. And film study is one of the best ways in which you're able to do that. So coming out here, I'm running Dollar on defense. If you guys want my full version of this defensive ebook, it's available in our school community. $10 get you access to everything. And I'm running this strong safety zone blitz. Now, something that you might not notice, as we'll kind of go ahead and get into the film here, is if you take a look at this strong safety zone blitz, which you'll see it right here. If you take a look at this blitz angle that this linebacker is on, it's a slightly different blitz angle than like cover four quarters, Tampa 2, any of those. And this blitz angle is also slightly different. What you get from the strong safety zone blitz is a little bit more exaggerated of a loop. And so what that does is it triggers this double team a little bit more than what you might get from something else. Now, you are in a cover three base shell, and my basic adjustment here is I'm just going to I shade it underneath, and then I'm just going to take this guy and put him in an inside quarter. Now, the whole kind of thought process is by having this third here, what you can do is you can switch stick onto this third if this guy does not go on a vertical route. So let's say he goes on a drag or an out route or a whip, right? Then I can just switch stick right here and immediately get kind of another yellow zone within the coverage. So those are some of the keys. Now, this guy's running 5 wide, and he actually has a pretty decent 5 on. I'm going to show you kind of what happens. Another little thing that I like to do against any kind of spread set is utilize a vertical hook, because again, what a lot of people are going to run is a flat zig combo. It's really hard to attack the flats from spread formations, which is kind of surprising to say, but that is 100% the truth. So anyway, as you see, he literally instant throws this drag route. I mean, that was about as fast as possible. And you see my vert hooks right there, and I get a mid-zone KO from my man, John Lynch. John Lynch still plays on my slot, man. You got 2 AP avalanche, mid-zone, all you really need in that position. So anyways, let's see here. It's kind of my base shell. Again, another real beauty of this vert hook is if they were to run like a flat and an in route, they're probably looking to hit the in route, right? This throw is super hard to make, and it's not even hard to make, but it's hard to get a lot of yards from just throwing a flat route, especially because he's in the middle of the field. So that's the idea behind the vertical hook. I get 2 underneath yellow defenders with my hook curl, and then if I need to, I can switch stick here and kind of have the whole idea is let's say I get like one of the more popular 5 wide combinations would be something like this with a little drag. So what I would do is I would switch stick right here to this middle third, and I would be able to lurk this, and then the quarter would take this. So that's kind of some of my basic thought process in terms of defending 5 wide. I get a lot of questions literally every single year about what are the best tips for defending 5 wide, and that's one of them. Is what you want to do at a 5 wide is you want to force them to have to throw the ball outside of the deep seam streaks or the crossers. You want to force them to throw the ball to the flats, which we did right there, and he took his flat. So now we're going to go with a hard flat in this situation, 3rd and 1. Don't love this call. I also switch sticked onto the hard flat, trying to kind of lurk that in route, and then he got me on the left side. Another really good tip is utilizing a vert hook to the wide side of the field. So, for example, here, and I'm going to go to the engage defense. Now, the reason that I go to the engage defense here is we've got a hook curl and we get a flat zone, and he's in 5 wide. So I know he's probably not going to have the easiest time being able to pick up, this send 3. And this really allows me to just kind of sit over here in the yellow zone. Now, he is actually, from a 5 wide perspective, doing a really good job of attacking the underneath consistently, as you see he does here. And there's a KO from that defensive tackle in that vertical hook. And again, the whole idea, because 5 wide is so threatening in terms of its ability to attack vertically, you kind of have to give up the underneath to a degree, and so that's kind of my thought process here. Now I'm going to go to Tampa 2 in the second situation. I did a video on this. I love this defense. This is again, what you get is you get two hook curls from this. The cloud flats. The reason I wanted to go to this, these cloud flats will defend a speed out. If you throw this flat route like and you have that in route combination, the cloud flat could easily just rally down and make the tackle there. So that's kind of the thought process behind going to this. And then if I do see him leave someone vertical, then I'll just switch stick onto a vert hook. So as you see, switch stick onto the vert hook. And I actually loved how that played. Now, in hindsight, looking back at the film and looking back at kind of the game, he really was never, I don't think he ran the ball at all out of this. No jet touch pass, no QB draw, nothing. I should have stayed in this a little bit more. I was trying to get a little too aggressive. Here you see 3rd down and 10, going to go back to it. And I'm moving my user back there so that I can kind of defend that. And you see, that's what I'm talking about. Technically, he made the right read by throwing the flat route, but because of the spacing that he has built within his formation, that flat route cannot get him the yardage that he would want it to be able to get. So that brings up a 4th and 8. I feel really good about this. Should be able to get off the field here, but I make a mistake. And this mistake is that I was thinking, okay, if I was him, I would throw like a drag and then like a flat in route. It's kind of typical. So I bluff blitz this guy. Looking back, this was a really silly decision because this bluff blitz would defend this crosser, but the thing that I just totally didn't even think about is you have no help for a scramble. So as you see here, the blitz is coming in. He does a good job stepping to the pocket. The yellows are not on 5. They're on default. So they back up just enough. And on this 4th and 8, he literally is able to scramble with Michael Vick. And in hindsight, I also didn't use the yellow zone very well. So should have been a situation where I was able to get off the field, and I wasn't. And now I go back to this engage defense. I feel like the combination of this engage defense and then the cover 2 is going to be really good. He is consistently running that seam streak on the right-hand side, so I have to kind of watch out for that. But again, good read by him. Able to just pepper me with these little flat in combinations. Another thing that I could have done looking back is I could have used just a basic curl flat. If you guys didn't know, on a flat in combination, a curl flat will actually lurk that in route, and and that's just another way to play it. Here I try putting my user on a hard flat. I didn't feel like that was a great idea, but I did get this. So again, I go back to the engage. This was why I thought the engage was actually really good, because I got this guy as a steal into coverage, and I was still able to, he still feels a little bit of pressure here. And I don't know. I feel like he just messed up, missed a read, maybe didn't think the yellow would lurk it. I don't know. Honestly, kind of a pretty bad route combo. If you look, he has a flat and in, and then he has a hitch. I think he might have meant that this is a seam streak, but the fact that he threw it so early, and Danielle Hunter is going to make that play pretty much every single time. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in for 7. Michael Vick able to run me down, and that's going to bring my offense onto the field, and we're going to get the ball 1st and 10 at about the 16-yard line. One of the big things here is I get ball at half. So if you're really sweating this kind of game, one of the things to think about is you don't want to settle for 3, but sometimes 3 is not the end of the world because it gets you in the lead of the game. Also, these are only 3-minute quarters. So because they're only 3-minute quarters, probably only at least maybe 1 or 2 possessions left, depending on how long this takes. So I just go to one of my favorite plays there, Sail. Just does a really good job of kind of attacking the seam, and then also kind of a high-low in the middle of the field. This also, I love this combo right here. I don't know why more people don't run this play out of Eagles. And again, this is Eagles normal live close. If you guys want my ebook on it, it's in our school community. That link is in the description. But what I have here is a clear out streak for this short post, okay? So if it's cover 2, right, then I'll probably hit this short post, or I can hit this drag kind of over here. If it's cover 3 or cover 4, you can throw this speed out almost every single time. I mean, I have not seen a lot of zones that will play it in cover 3, cover 4. So as I look out here, it looks like he's kind of running the same defense I am. As you see, the safeties are kind of fanning out. You have the 2 yellows underneath, and then you have the clouds on the outside. So what I'm able to do here is I'm able to kind of a tough throw, honestly, And I don't know if it was necessarily, I mean, the user is kind of, when you slow it down like this, the user looks like he's in position. But I'm not throwing the ball. Again, this is so important for passing. If you're not careful, you think, well, I'm throwing the ball into this window of the field. That's not actually true. When I throw this ball, it's going to go in this window of the field. And so I throw it right on time, and I'm able to hit this post kind of right in a soft spot of the defense and able to get 7. So again, he was kind of in position, but I think he was just a little bit, like about a half step behind or so, and I was able to get a touchdown on that drive. So feeling really good right now offensively. You got your 7. Now defense goes back on the field. We'll see kind of how he plays. One of the things that will change is when you get the pick and you get the lead from the pick. Now what it does to him is it kind of changes his sense of urgency. So that's a component that you have to kind of pay attention to. Is he trying to throw the ball more downfield a little bit? And so from a coverage perspective, you might want to go back to a more conservative coverage. Those are some just different factors at play here. So he might just come out and run what he was doing. He might come out and try to super attack now because he's kind of pressing. So that's why I go to the engage first play, because very conservative defense, especially against 5 wide. And, I'm just going to see what is he trying to attack. So messed up the engage, but I'm able to cover there, and we get a nice shed, and we get a sack, and feeling really good defensively. And that's going to bring up a 2nd and 10. Now, what I probably should do is stay with the engage. I feel like this was a little bit of a mistake. I end up going back to my loop, send 4, and I just don't feel like it was a great idea. Because what ends up happening, that was my whole plan. And actually not a bad result, but take a look at the switch stick. So the reason I do this is because I know backside, I've got this all game long. So I'm going to let the hook curl lurk that. I'm going to switch stick here. And my theory is if he goes streak and then the drag, I can get over here by the time that by the time that route's coming open. So you see here, I'm trying to get over there, and he's actually throwing probably right there. And that actually wasn't terrible. The reason I don't like going back to that defense is because I feel like I could just stay in the disengage or the engage defense probably the whole game against this guy, or the cover 2. He just never, at least so far, has not shown any desire to throw the ball outside of the underneath middle of the field with a clear out seam streak. So that's why here I'm going to go back to the Tampa 3, and I have those 2 hook curls underneath, and basically you'll see I'm going to let off my user, and he throws to me, this was kind of unfortunate. So if you take a look here, he goes flat, slant, the double ends, and this. He throws the second in route, and I feel like, 3 players, all with KO abilities, and none of them KO'd. So that's going to bring up 4th and 3. So now the way that you would play this defensively is probably super aggressive. I don't know. You could either play this like super aggressive or fairly conservative. And so here I'm trying to get my adjustments off, and I'm deciding to play this a little conservative. Looking back, again, don't love this call. I was trying to lurk that in route, and you see I'm running right there, and he hits a curl. So kind of an interesting read, kind of an interesting route. He hits a curl in the right side seam. I would assume that was what he was trying to hit when he threw the interception as well. But I don't know if it was a hitch. It wasn't actually a curl. So, and you're seeing there, he gets back to it, and this is actually just like a really, really big point of, kind of sometimes you can get robotic and just kind of running your stuff, and you don't really think through like what has worked so far and what hasn't worked. Here he throws right at a hard flat. I don't love the fact that that's able to be completed, but it was for 4 yards. I threw right at a hard flat. But generally speaking, I should have been in the engaged defense a lot more than I was. And I think that would have really changed how this drive went. There he hits me again with that crawl, and that seems to be okay. So that's what he's going to do. And that's actually a good way to attack cover four because I'm trying to lurk onto that middle third and get underneath of that in route. And then that curl is kind of in a weird spot that's just for this specific coverage. So here you see, now I'm going to go to a cover two on the right. I've not seen a single streak, right? And there you go. And this is another thing I should have. The problem was five wide. Like, I mean, if he runs a flat, a streak, and a streak, it's a touchdown every single time. If he runs a streak and a wheel, it's a touchdown. Like, this is a fairly aggressive shell against three receivers lined up over here. But, that being said, he's consistently never really ran the vertical. So you see here, I got the vert hook sitting right there if that was a curl, and this time it's a streak. The vert hook's also playing that, which allows the hook curl to play that and allows my user to kind of sit right over the middle. And that was actually a really good defensive play. So now 2nd and 18, ball on the 38-yard line, and I am going to go to the engage defense. So I actually love this. The fact that I'm going to this defense here, this should be pretty successful. One thing I should have probably done on the left side is just curl flat that defender because of how much he's been throwing these underneath. And there he hit like a kind of interesting route combo, but I think it's a corner and an out and then like a post. Yeah, super weird route combo. But he hit it. He definitely hit it. Where I wish those quarters would play just a little better underneath. They're in 3, going to go to the Tampa 3. And here you see I'm going to get really aggressive, so I'm going to go shade down hard flats. I'm also trying to get the ball back before the end of the half so I can maybe go get 3 or get 7. So I'm playing super aggressive defense here, trying to get him to throw me something underneath. And I actually should not. This is just kind of a bad. I was switch sticking here. I just should have stayed still, honestly, looking back at this. But don't drive on the ball. And I switch sticked him actually away from the ball, and he gets a first down. Definitely was throwing an interception or a KO, and that's where switch stick can sometimes mess you up because you're trying so hard to, I don't know, to kind of take away that. Here he's starting going to this little smoke screen streak combination. Again, the 5 wide. This is where another situation where it would have been good to call the engage defense. I'm going with this defense with cover 2 with 2 inside quarters. And he's doing a really good job of just hitting these smoke screens on me. But again, I will say a lot of the way that I played defense in this game was primarily because of the formation he was running. Because it's so easy. The main play you have to always be able to defend in 5 wide is 4 verticals. And he literally, I mean, I did not see him run it. That was a nice little play right there. He had the corner route there on the right side. I finally dropped everybody down. And that's going to bring up a 4th and inches. And this is be perfect for him if he scored 7. Because it doesn't leave me a ton of time. So let's see what happens here. Again, I'm going to get super aggressive with the hard flats. I got the thirds out there to kind of fan out and play any kind of fade. I think I make the same mistake I made earlier in the game. We'll see what happens here. 4th and inches. And he's going to just be able to scramble out of there with Vic. And he is going to get 7. So right there, I kind of thought my defensive end would play him. He didn't. My user was bad. And I did a bad job of containing the quarterback in the pocket. And he's able to, kind of the 2 big conversions he's really had in the big moments have been quarterback scrambles. So it is what it is. Not ideal. Felt like we kind of played bad the whole drive, really trying to almost do too much defensively. I think one of the things that I've reflected on is there's some games where you have to do a ton to get a stop. And then there's other games, and most games, where you can play, fairly simple and put yourself in a good position. So that's another little factor. Another little factor as well. see if we can just not fumble the ball. That'd be great. It actually gives us a little bit of room, and we're going to get ourselves into a position where we might be able to get a field goal. My offense has only been on the field for 2 plays. So, but I did notice he's running that B-Nog. So here I went with get that nice in route and hit that nice in route in a perfect window, kind of right there. But I didn't pass lead it down. If I would have pass lead that down inside, I could probably possession catch back. But instead, I'm being led into the middle third, and didn't go well for me there. So kind of a bad pass lead. Again, it's little things that make a big difference. But it is 100% Benog, the Tampa 3. Now here he does something kind of interesting, and I throw it right at him. And I think what he did here is I think he has his clouds on 30. No, because it stops at 20. And I just did not expect I thought I could like throw this more up in this area. And looking back, take your check down. You probably turn up field and get a field goal, especially with Brandon Aubrey as your kicker. Instead, I force it, and that's it. That's it for the half. So kind of a big mistake there, in my opinion. But we do get ball coming out of half. It should be 10-7, but it is not because of just some very minor mistakes and very big moments. So, anywho, see if the offense can get cooking now. Again, there's not a lot of this. Tampa 3 is really good, and this is a new route combo I was kind of thinking about, was something like this to try to attack kind of that cover 2. And there I kind of force feed it into Dion, and I'm able to catch it. Another route combo I was thinking about for this Tampa 3 that I think would actually be pretty cool is a streak deep out, a Texas route, a zig, and then a post. Kind of high-low in the yellow zones in the middle of the field. Anyway, going to go to Wysale here. Pretty much really looking for this route. He does a good job with his users, so I'm just gonna kill the play. Right there, his user was actually so far out of position that it actually ended up being good for his user. And yeah, I think also, if we look back at that play real quick, I could have hit that tight end, but just the way his user came down. So I'm looking at that defender and I see him do this crazy thing. I should have just thrown this. This is 100% open. But just the way the fact that it's his user really just threw me off. And so I'm like, okay. And so we just live to play another down. Again, interceptions, turnovers, super costly. Don't want to turn the ball over. Here I'm going to go to the same combo. But now I actually love this version of it. Kind of a newer version, but you have this post. You have this little underneath in route. It's a levels concept. And then you have your clear outs, and then your little table. What's nice about this is generally they're going to user the post, and then your backside in is going to be wide open. As you see, the yellows kind of carry the post, right? This is open, and the post is open. So I hit that in a nice little pocket. That's a really good combination to utilize against a Tampa 3, just because it puts a lot of stress on the yellow zones. Going to go to cheap flat post. It's one of my favorite plays down here. And I see, okay, cover 2, so that's dead. I should take the drag. I don't. I thought I was going to be able to sneak it into the running back, and it just didn't open up like I was hoping it would. Don't love this play call here. This is much better for like a cover 3. And you'll see here, again, I'm trying to hit that running back. I just think I can fit that running back in that spot. But again, another really just poor play call by me. In that situation, you got to realize when somebody's doing the same thing every time, you got to realize that. What I should be doing is high-low in the flat defender a little bit more than I am. Here, I'm kind of cooking up a laser. I don't know if it's actually going to laser, and it does. I hit that post right in that pocket. Again, this is an okay combo. What I was thinking is that corner would take this third all the way out, and then the wheel would be open right here, which, if you look at it, it's a tight throw, but this is going to get open here. And then also I felt like the tight end would clear that third out, and I could throw this on anticipation right and back in. So it works out for me. able to get 7 and put pressure back to him. What's nice about the situation that I'm in, even though it should be 17-7, if he goes down and gets 7, then I'm going to be in a position where I just need to go down and get 3 and win the game. So it just kind of all goes back to that big stop I got on the first drive of the game, big interception, and then getting 7s. Also super important within the framework of the game so far. All right, so we're going to see what he does here on this last drive for him, I believe. Because again, 3-minute quarters, you should be able to, as long as he doesn't score in one play, should be able to kind of manage the clock in a way that is going to make it hard for him to be able to have the ball last. Okay, so starting out, I'm going to go to that cover 2. And he takes that underneath. Good read by him. But see, I'm okay with like 4. Like 4 yards is not the end of the world. So, I'm looking mainly, I just don't want him to have those free layup throws over the middle field. And now I go back to the engaged defense. I have the hook curl drop into that area. I get the KO. And now I finally, kind of probably cross the bridge in my brain where I'm either going to be in cover 2 or the engaged defense. Probably the rest of the game. It should be engaged right here. And let's see what I do. Guess I'm not going to show it. There it is. Yep, engaged defense. This is exactly what I should have been doing the whole game. Got the stop on the first drive. I assumed he might have pass protection. I don't know. But this has been perfectly fine. And you see, throws that. And that could have been very easily could have been a KO. So then, okay, now maybe put a curl flat over there. I don't know, but I think I might even go cover 2 on the right side. But again, I'm engaged. It's engaged the rest of the game in my head. This is where I feel like, okay, I've got the idea of what I want to do to stop him. I dropped the hook curl out, and okay, that was the curl flat. So I put the curl flat there for the curl. He threw the zig. Okay, he's starting to make good reads. But I'm definitely starting to be like, have kind of the thing that I want to do to be able to stop him is primarily this engage blitz and then having a lot of help over the middle of the field because that's where he's really trying to throw the ball. He's not trying to throw the ball deep whatsoever. That's why I go with the soft squat. And that brings us into a big 3rd and 13 because if he goes 4 and out here, I'm also in immediate field goal range to get to a 2-possession lead. So let's see if he should snap this. I don't think he should take this to the 4th. I'm going back to the engaged defense again, get the pressure, and now he's on a 4th and 23, right? So this becomes fairly simple in terms of how to play defense on 4th and 23. I'm going to come out in dollar cover 2. I'm going to put my zone drops back on default, and I'm just going to run the Tampa 3, but I'm going to have the safeties backed off. So as you see here, Tampa 3. And then I'm just looking for what hook zone do I want to switch stick on. Normally, I switch stick on to the short side hook zone because the number 3 is almost always on a crosser. So you see there, hook, switch stick onto it, and he almost completes it. To be honest, if you take a look back here, I mean this is look at this throw on anticipation off his back foot. I think it's off his back foot is why it ends up meaning a bleat. But I don't know how he got that kind of bend on the ball, but he got the ball. I was thinking if he was going to throw that, he would throw that right into my user. But he got so much bend on the ball, and he just fluttered it at the end. Classic Michael Vick. And Dion is able to pick it off and put us in a position to win this ball game. So anyways, wanted to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown on my gameplay, show you kind of what I do. Again, the ebooks that I cover in this video, they are in our school community for just $10. You can get access to all of my Madden 25 offensive and defensive ebooks, as well as our college football 25 offensive and defensive ebooks. So if you guys want to check that stuff out, you can head down to the description and click the link below. Thanks for watching this video. I hope that you might have found some of the insights in here helpful. Oftentimes, it's little things that make the biggest difference. And there's times where you have to overcomplicate it, and there's times where it's not that complicated, and you can actually play really simple. And that's what we saw in this game.